This is the Ridiculously Amazing Insurance Agent podcast hosted by me, Kelly Donahue-Piro. This show is for growing agencies looking to maximize their biggest investment, their people. We mash up our 3-minute videos from the previous week, all with tips on how to be ridiculously amazing at insurance sales, retention, processes, marketing, running in an agency, and time management. If you want them daily, like us on social media as they're posted. But let's get started. Hey everyone, Kelly Donahue-Piro here. Super excited that you're joining us for this mashup because I'm actually breaking down the steps we're taking internally to get people to buy into some new processes that we're designing. We're basically going through and remapping all of our internal processes with HubSpot, which is our version of a management system, so that there's enhanced automation, things are going in the right direction. And it was critical to me as the leader that we get buy-in. When we did this previously, it was during COVID and we were all under a different level of stress, and this was my COVID activity. So while some of my team members were homeschooling kids, I was doing a lot on them at the same time. But I just saw it as a big opportunity of me not being on the road to get some critical projects done. In doing that, I realized that we've got a lot of things going on, and we added 2 new people during that time frame. So it's a good time to go back to basis and reset everything and polish it up. Now, during that time with any automation, people tend to get a little frustrated, a little crispy. And so now we're going back through, and my intention is to get everyone's extreme buy-in on this. So you're going to go here and hear our lessons on each step of the way that we're doing this, because in my experience, buy-in is critical. I didn't get it last time because I was working very much independently as we were all experiencing a whole new world. Let's just say that. So I want to tell you this because I'm definitely not a perfect leader and I'm not a perfect person. But when I see an opportunity to correct things, we definitely want to take it. So I'm going to map out to you exactly. We're going to go back and get buy-in on something we didn't get buy-in the first time here at APP. We'll see you in the first video. Okay, one step that we're taking is a launch party. And actually, as I'm shooting this video, we're doing our launch party today. So because this is so critical and we've actually hired an outside vendor to help us. Now, you may be saying to yourself, what are you talking about? Don't you do processes? Absolutely. But I also know that we're too close to them. And then I also know that my highest power and the biggest thing I need to be focused on is servicing my clients. So having another job of reworking everything isn't going to get, me to where I want this business to be. So we selected a vendor to work with, and today is our launch party. So everyone's getting swag boxes. We have ridiculously amazing team member shirts, little Yeti cups. We came up with an actual notebook, which you guys might be saying, Kelly, you're not about paper, and I'm not. However, in this, it's a very strict format of how to review the processes, what to do, how to write your feedback. So you're looking at it on a screen. Sometimes you can't always do it digitally, but it will be scanned in and it will be typed in by one of our virtual assistants as well. We've already named our project leader, Michelle. She's going to make sure that everybody checks in on time with what they need and knows how to make sure in a friendly way that we're moving through the process. We're going to make sure everybody has a clear framework of what's going on. So how we're making automation decisions and what our values are and what the timeline is. And we built incentives into it too to have some fun. So if you're looking to launch something new, don't just think about it just throwing it out in a meeting. If it's important to the agency, it's also a good time to have some conversations, present it in a positive light, and get the buy-in that you desperately need. Here's our strategy in the next video. Hello everyone, Kelly Donahue-Piro here, and we just retired our Q3 course all on how to cross-sell insurance, and I want to give you some exciting news. Our Q4 course is actually going to be a whole workbook, workshop for you to create a great plan for the next year, set goals, get buy-in, create incentives for your team. So think of it as a little mini business plan, end of year planning that we're going to help walk everybody through. So we're really excited about that. That will launch in October. So you've got plenty of time to play along as we go. But for this week, what we want to do is break down 4 tips that you can have to launch something new with your insurance agency team. Here at APP, we've invested in helping an outsider come in and help us with our processes and procedures. Now, this might be something that you may think, what? Isn't that what you help people with? It is. However, I have to eat my own cooking too. I strongly believe that an outsider can help us at a greater level from one, just kind of helping us organize different personalities on the team,
But two, also having a third party outsider point of view, asking some key questions. In addition, while I love processes, I also understand that my major, highest, best use of my time is working with insurance agencies. So it's unbelievably critical to me that the things that I know I can outsource, I do in my business. And we recommend that to our clients as well. So step one of getting buy-in on anything new in your agency, we say is to have a launch party. That's right. Don't have a meeting where you're just saying, hey, here's the deal. This is what's happening. People tend to just go, oh, another thing. As we look to rebuild all of our processes, we've had some new people come on board and just want to freshen everything up, fix a few automations that are going a little rogue. What we did was start out 30 days in advance by just letting everybody know, getting them used to the idea. And then this Friday, we're actually going to have a launch party. So we go through expectations, everyone's getting a gift box. We came up with custom notebooks for everybody. So as they're reviewing processes, they can write down some notes. Now you also might be saying, Kelly, you hate notebooks. For very specific reasons, not client related, I am a fan of a notebook. So we've got t-shirts, we've got some coffee mugs coming, and they all say ridiculously amazing team. I also set the stage with some expectations, and we put that in the workbook. We had everybody personality profiled so we can see everybody's different personalities, and we came up with incentives. Part of this launch is I also appointed one person on our team to be the person who's going to keep everyone on track. So that's got to come off my plate, but come on to somebody who's at that same level and can say, hey, we didn't get your feedback on this. So that way it's not always coming from the top down, but more a unified team. And because there's some incentives in play, you can tell people are getting excited about it. So what I want to say to everybody is if you're launching something new in your team, start out with a clear vision, a clear plan, and do a launch party. We're then going to talk a little bit about what we're doing from that point forward. So I'll see you in the next video, but new things can be excited when outlined well in the team. Hey everyone, so now we're going to talk a little bit about how we check in on a process. So we've made the launch, and it's really important we think about checking in with people. And what I like to do in this is have routine meetings and have like a check-in point of this is what we're going to be discussing. And you have to make sure you share the positives, not just the negatives. We want to make sure success is always there. Because a lot of times we can still focus on the speed bumps and not focus on how to really make it all work. And so in these team meetings, it's critical we think about successes. We document the challenges and figure them out, of course, but we don't want to make it a complaint fest at all. So here's our tips on how to check in with your team, make it consistent so you get buy-in. So the next strategy that we have in this 4-part series of how to earn your team buy-in, after we have the launch party, the next step is really collaboration. And a huge opportunity with this is saying, okay, how do we get everyone's buy-in and feedback? Now, there's 2 ways this goes. Sometimes we ask for feedback and all we get is negativity. So if you're watching this video, remind yourself, we can't always be negative. We always have to be thinking about some of the positive steps too. The second thing we have to do is balance that out. So what we like to do is we actually come up with like a template. And it's actually a notebook. I know I'm not big on paper, but for documentation and purposes, I like people to be able to quickly and efficiently write something down. And on the notepad is what do we like about this new thing? It starts first. And whenever we have a meeting, which is in the calendar routinely, there's no issues, nothing whatsoever that's going to stop us. Everyone has to come prepared to that meeting with what do they like, what's working well. And then we can talk about any speed bumps or challenges, but we make this a collaboration. So for example, somebody might say, oh, I had that and I worked around this. We stop, we listen, and we dive in with some help, and we identify what is a real challenge, what is a training issue, and what can we learn from it. And we take it in very bite-sized pieces. So it's not looking at something in its totality, but just on this one area, what can we do? Then we open it up, do some training, and we also show the stats of what's working, what's not working. And so this might seem very tedious, but remember, for many agencies getting buy-in, whether it's renewal calls or technology, a new management system, a new phone system, this is a big endeavor. If we just flip it on like a light switch, we won't get to maximizing all of the benefits. And that's why I think it's so critical that we have a good plan and we take some time on the plan. So if your agency is interested take a look. You should come up with a format for that meeting. What's working, what's not working, how are we feeling, and what are some workarounds so that everyone can take that back and should be taking notes at meetings. I'm a big proponent of that. We'll see you in our next training lesson on how to get buy-in from your team. Hey everyone, if you don't know how we operate, we really have two different plans here at APP. We have our online school, which anyone can get access to our resources, and it's literally the content we use with agencies. It's no different, it's just a little bit more of a do-it-yourself plan. So if your agency is looking for really good team processes and training and how to maximize your performance, the school is a great first step. But where I spend most of my time is our agency performance program, which is a 2-year program, which basically goes through the entire agency. We start with an assessment to get everybody job description, goals, incentive plans, make sure people on the right seats on the bus. And then we go into time management where we really install processes and procedures and make sure everybody's working uniformly. Then we hit our renewal review calls and then our sales training plan. So in 2 years, you really have kind of a boot camp, a reorganization, making sure everybody's got the best tools in their toolkit to do what they do best. And I'm here today because I want to let you know that we actually only have a handful of spots left. And so what I want to say is once we hit 20 agencies, that's it. We're shutting it down, and we launched this in January. And as of this recording, we are at 14 agencies. So there are a few spots left, but I want to get out there because if you're thinking about doing this year, it behooves you to act now, as I do think that those spots are going to go pretty darn fast as we get back out on the road, speaking, going to some of the conventions. So if you're interested, let us know. We'd love to have an initial conversation with you and see if you're a good fit. Until then, back to the 3-minute video. All right, so the third step I want to talk about is something we're all going to face. And I love hearing what I know in advance, I can prepare for in advance. I know my team pretty well, and we actually did personality profiles on everybody. And why I think this is so important is when you're getting pushback, you need to go back to their personality profile. There are some people that are more critical or skeptical by nature, and they have a valuable place on the team. Because me, who likes to go on feeling and energy and let's do it, we can do this, we could do the 10 things today. Why wouldn't we be able to do something? You know, that can really temper that person. And so we need to use their strengths, but also bring them on board. As a leader, if your personalities don't connect on that, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to feel some conflict. So I like to go back to the personality profile. I like to listen with that person. And then I also like to go back to the principles that we put in place. Like, how is what you're doing honoring these principles? And sometimes that becomes clear. Sometimes it doesn't for agencies or team members. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that you want to do is say, how can you move forward? And how can you kind of come to terms with it? My big statement is, hey, you know what? You don't have to agree with it, but we have to agree to do it. And at the end, I don't need agreement from everybody on every single thing, but I do need people to follow the process because it connects to so many other departments. And I always say to them, you know what, at some point in time, if you're in this seat, you can make different decisions, but for the time being, we really need to get on board. And I'm going to ask you for an honest 30 days of try. In my mind, I have a big strategy of how do you know unless you try? And I want people to keep an open mind while trying. I often see about half the people that have a lot of apprehension up front after trying, that comes down. And again, that's a personality trait. So sometimes me as the leader has to see it for them. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video.
So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about what do you do if you're launching something new and you just have somebody who is just being very stubborn. You know, the pushback is strong. It's just it's becoming a problem, and it's becoming an issue for you as the leader to keep a clear head and keep motivated when you kind of keep hitting a wall. I can tell you I've been there. So a few things that I like to go to in these situations. The first thing is I strongly believe that everyone should have a personality profile done on them. There are some people who just by the nature of their personality are a tad more cynical, a tad more skeptic, and a tad more I'll believe it when I see it and it's perfect. And we have to be open-minded and respectful to the idea that that's kind of how they're wired. They're not doing it to necessarily be a jerk. They're doing it for the simple reason that that's how they approach life. So I love looking at their personality profile and being like, okay, I completely get this. And a lot of personality profiles will give you some guidance on it of what to do, what to say, and how to overcome that. Many times this personality type loves facts, not feelings. And for many of us who run businesses, feelings fuel us because we have a gut instinct that's generally right. But that doesn't float the boat of the person who's more of a skeptic. So step one, personality profiles. Step two is listening to listen. We've talked about that before in our 3-minute videos of, can you really listen to somebody? And what we mean by that is understanding their concerns, their frustrations, and then kind of coming back into it with facts. So for example, if somebody's not a fan of texting clients, come back, do the research and say, well, here's the research we've done, go out to the vendor, whomever, and say, this is why this is important. And really what you're asking for them is to not ask for their, the idea that they're going to love it. You're going to ask for them to do it. And I love that idea. If you own this agency, you may not do this, but that's not where we're at right now. I don't need you to agree with it. I need you to do it. And you need to then at that point, turn the conversation into step 3, which is setting a clear boundary. Now in insurance, we tend to shy away from boundaries for a variety of reasons. 1, it's hard to find people. 2, it's a little uncomfortable if we've never done it. But it should be clearly documented and stated that at the end of the day, this is not optional. And that also at this point in time, it's time to retire some of the negative comments. I like to put into our team's improvement plans and coaching plans. I've got one person who doesn't always embrace new things very well. And so with her, I say, this quarter, I really want you to focus on keeping an open mind, stopping the comment before it comes out of your mouth, digesting it, and just waiting 24 hours. And what she's found by doing this is more like after I had time to process it, I didn't react. I could see a little bit clearer. I still have questions, but it wasn't this initial, well, this, and this were wrong. It was, okay, this, and this didn't go correctly, but this other stuff really did. And she said it really helped her kind of slow that thinking down. So everybody's a work in progress, but the idea is personality profiles, so you understand the why, sitting down and talking to the person and making sure you set a clear boundary, and then really adding it to any coaching plans or improvement plans for the team members that are struggling. Because there is a lot of success and there can be a lot of challenges, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everyone sees a path to success. So that's our tips for today. Any questions, let us know, but have a great day, everyone. All right, last strategy. And this one is one we miss all too often, okay? And that's hitting a milestone and celebrating. So often we ask people to just do things and it gets murky and muddy and things like that. But reality-wise, what we need to be thinking is what's our target so that we can celebrate. And celebrating could be axe throwing. Celebrating could be a bonus. Celebrating could be a party, a pizza party, a pajama day, whatever your agency's into, that's fine. In my experience, no agencies are the same as far as incentives. So for us, we're gonna have a big celebratory. If we get to our Q3 goals, where everything that we've listed out is ready to rock and roll, we're gonna do a big bonus for everybody. And that's because we have people in a lot of different places, but we've asked everybody for their intention of what they want to spend the money on. So it's going to be exciting watching it. We have somebody that wants to get engaged to his girlfriend. We have other people who want to go on vacation. And so we're going to try to keep them motivated, not just by cash, but by the thing that they're going to do with the money. So if your agency needs to think about that, we should always be trying to focus on moving forward and getting through that so that way you have something to look forward to. And it's good as a leader to help recognize. It's also good to say, check, job well done. So if anybody has any questions, watch these videos. This is all part of our agency performance program, our 2-year program. And we hope you seriously consider that. We only have a handful of spots left and we'd love to talk to you about it. Take care. So our last step in how we get team buy-in is to celebrate. Yes, celebrate. This is such a huge point. If you have a clear target in mind, we want to recognize and celebrate that what we did was hard and let people know that they've done a good job. As you're getting through it all, there should be a celebration point somewhere in there. And that celebration point needs to really consider the going through the process, making it out. If we've done the change curve in the past where it shows how did people deal with change. So now that we've got it up and running and it's usable, let's celebrate. That could be a pizza party, a cookout, a jeans day, an extra hour of time off, whatever you think is going to get your team to be excited. This helps you as the agency owner show gratitude to your team for doing hard things. And it also makes people feel good, like we made it, we can do this. But when you go through all the difficulty and you come to the end and it's still like, I don't know, here's the next thing. One of the things we see in a lot of agencies is time is a challenge. And so as we make changes and take people's time up, which is all part of running a business and is something we should be doing, we also need to take the time to celebrate when we see achievement and see that we have conquered that mountain. That just makes people feel recognized and important and part of a good team. So make sure you bake into here a milestone for when you're going to celebrate. We've gotten this far. This is amazing. Show your gratitude, show your recognition, so people know that you're watching. You're not just going to throw the next iron in the fire and go from there. These are our 4 steps to get buy-in, and we hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, we have a whole agency performance program, which is a 2-year program to help transform your agency. And we'd love to talk to you more about it. We'll see you next week. All right, I hope you've all enjoyed hearing about how to get team buy-in. A lot of it's energy, excitement, and making sure you have a good plan. A good plan isn't just simply telling people in a team meeting this is what's happening. Sometimes you can put some energy behind it. And so we are appreciative of all the agencies that do that. If you have any questions, let us know. But we thank you for watching this video, and we look forward to talking to you next week.